Welcome to another episode of Tell the Tape. Episode 12. Tonight we joined by Poly coach Sam Brand. Um, you don't know, Poly is a three-time state champ, three-time city champ in Baltimore, three consecutive, might I add, three consecutive. As soon as he hop in, oh, there you go right there. We're going to get this started. Straight. Coach, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening? I was trying to do this on my computer, but it's looking like I got to do it on my phone. So.
Yeah, they don't let
Bear
it
with me
happen
a
on the
second.
computer. And first and foremost, happy Father's Day. First and foremost,
Appreciate that.
no
Definitely
question,
enjoyed mine.
no question.
Are you a father?
Yeah, I got two little ones, two-year-old,
Okay. How
3-year-old,
old?
2 and 3.
Okay. Well, happy Father's Day to you as well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Um, First and foremost, this is the question I ask every coach as soon as they hop on. It was a wild ending to the season, and I think your team was on the bus when you found out the news, correct?
We were. I think a couple of the guys were already on the bus. I was
Okay.
walking to the bus when I picked up my phone, and I was just hoping, please don't have my AD call. Please don't have my AD call. And then once I saw the call from him,
You knew,
no, knew
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
wrap.
What was the energy like with the team? I know it was like a tough time for everybody, especially the seniors. Like, what did you tell your seniors at that moment?
Um, at the moment, the energy was, obviously we were disappointed, but there was so much, and there still is so much that we didn't know about the situation that we were hoping that I think most of us thought, oh, we're going to play this game eventually,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I don't think people understood. I don't think we all understood. So we were disappointed. We wanted to play it right then and there,
hmm
but it wasn't. The bigger disappointment is when we started to have to face the fact that it might be, season ending. That it might not happen.
yeah. It was definitely. Like when it first happened, I think everybody was really under the assumption, oh, in 2, 3 weeks we'll be okay. It's gonna start right back up in two, three
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, that was definitely a tough moment. So now I usually like to start at the beginning. You played at Poly for 3 years. What was your experience like playing for Poly?
Um. So, uh, when I came into Poly, it wasn't a situation where I don't even remember. Like I remember, rest in peace, David Lund. I remember David Lund being recruited to McDonough
Mm,
when we were in middle school together. But like recruitment for high school, it wasn't even on my radar at all. So I went to
yeah,
Poly because it was, a good school. I was good at math, and so I went in to try to make JV. It wasn't
okay,
like I had this in my mind I wanted to play in the NBA, but I first had to make JV at Poly. So it was,
right,
played 2 years of JV. Went from barely making JV my freshman year to the JV MVP as a sophomore.
okay,
Um, Played with Bucky Lee that summer. Rest in peace, Bucky Lee as well, down at Oliver Rec.
hmm
And I had grown up in Walter P. Carter Rec, which was like a neighborhood rec.
okay,
Um, and, I was pretty good there. But that's really where I got, some of my confidence. But then went and played for Bucky Lee after my sophomore year at Poly. Um, and then kind of really got some confidence on like a national AAU thing a little bit.
okay,
And then played my junior year at Poly. And as second leading scorer, was really excited about my senior year, and I wound up actually being academically ineligible my senior year at Poly.
okay,
It was a crazy time in my life off the court,
okay, okay,
but moved up to New York to finish my senior year. Played ball, played the second half of my senior season up there, and then went to prep school in New Hampshire, as you said in the preview.
yeah. So could you tell us about your prep school? I know, of course I did my research and I heard you talk about playing with some tough NBA guys up there, but what was that like?
So my first exposure to like national basketball was with Bucky Lee and Oliver,
Okay.
and the second exposure was going up to prep school. But what I do remember is we had a lot of successful Baltimore guys. So Sam Cassell, Kevin Braswell. There was a couple of guys that had already been up there that I'd heard that had done well. That I was looking forward to. I mean, I wasn't on their level as far as how good they were, but I've always taken pride in being a Baltimore basketball player. So,
Hmm.
taking that up there was, I had some confidence with me, but we had 11 Division I players on my team,
It's
um,
tough. That's
and
tough.
two guys that got some time in the NBA. One from
Okay.
DC, Bernard Robinson.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
he was the first guy so I played. Marcus Hatton was probably the best player that was a teammate of mine, and I also played against him here in Baltimore. But when I went up there and played against Bernard Robinson every day, it was a reality check for me that there is what NBA looks like.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
and Mo, no disrespect to Mo, he had NBA time as well, but it was just when I got up there, we played against Caron Butler. In like the third game, he was an MCI at the time. I just, got to play against guys every single day. We're all up there, on a mission to get a scholarship. Recruitment wasn't as widespread as it is now. And you basically, you were up in that league. It was guys from all over the world actually up in that league, just playing high level basketball. So I got to see, this is my first time being a part, being in the weight room as a part of my basketball experience. So I learned about, we had a strength and conditioning coach. I didn't even know what that was. Had my first like individual workouts. I had done like stuff with my brother before, but it was just at the next level of basketball for me. I was, and then what it is to me now, New Hampton Prep is just a place where so many influential people in basketball went. And then also, so I got to be with some like really really good basketball guys, and it's just such an intimate experience,
Hmm.
being in that prep school environment. You're in the mountains in the middle of nowhere with a
Yeah.
group of guys playing ball. So I got pushed to my best, made some really good relationships, and some I hold dear to this day.
Yeah, I mean that post grad. I mean, a lot of people don't realize like post grad has been around for a while. Like if you're
Yeah.
not undergrad, so it's been around for a while. Um, so what was the recruitment like? I know your first year was at UMBC. Were they actively recruiting you, or was that something you just wanted to be at home?
So I had a couple Division II looks, but I after playing up there, like at the end of the season, I was starting on the team, and my
Okay.
teammates went to North Carolina, Michigan, Indiana, and Cal. So I'm like, all right, I think I can play Division I basketball.
Yeah.
So I actually, my experience up there, I didn't start playing until the second half of the season, and then I was a starter at the end of the season in the New England Prep Tournament.
Mm.
So I say that to say my recruitment just picked up late. I had some Division II offers, so I wanted to come home. Went to UMBC as a walk-on, as a freshman. Basically, had a pretty bad experience with the. And I hate when kids say stuff like this now. Sometimes I just had a bad experience with the coaches that did a lot of guys on the team. We wound up getting fired the next year, but I was already in Morgan, and it was such a blessing for me
Yeah.
because my time at Morgan, it was just full of love. I really enjoyed it on and off the court. Made a bunch of lifelong relationships, and then eventually started me on my path as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about well, first time I was playing at Morgan a little bit. You were sharpshooter while you was at Morgan. And
Uh, I did a little bit of shooting the ball there for sure. I,
yeah.
when I got to Morgan, so I'm actually a third generation Morgan graduate, which
Okay.
I know would surprise some people. But my
Okay.
grandmother, I carry my grandmother's Morgan ID in my wallet. My mother graduated from Morgan. So
That's
I already
tough.
had, when I
Tough.
told my mother that I was going there, she's like, "You about to go play ball for Morgan?" So she's really excited to come, be able to watch me play. But I got to play for a guy named Butch Beard. I actually, a story about me going to Morgan. I was out of school from my experience at UMBC, and I was playing in the YMCA men's league. I was 19, I think maybe 20, because I went to Pratt. I was 20 at the time, and one of the assistants at Morgan, Speedy, Coach Speedy Pennant, was playing on the other team, and I had like 40 against those guys. And he was like, "Do you have any eligibility left?" I was like, "I do." And at the time, I was actually thinking of going to Bowie, but I really, like I said, I wanted to play Division I basketball. So he offered me, a chance to walk on at Morgan. Got to Morgan, played, had a real fun experience in intramurals. I hear a lot of talk about young people pushing for the HBCU experience, and then I hear some negative chatter about that, and it may be ironic coming from me, but my HBCU experience was far superior to my experience at UMBC. No knock to UMBC, but for me, if the games were, just a big part of our campus, I had more fun in my first intramural game at Morgan than I did the whole time playing ball at UMBC. I mean, I love the guys and playing out there with those guys, but I just felt like, just the atmosphere, at HBCU games, especially when the campus is going, it's electric. I love being a part of it. So, like I said, I started intramurals at Morgan, and then I wound up getting on the. I mean, I knew I was going to be on the team eventually, but got on the team and started off as a walk-on. Winded up breaking all the 3-point records there, and was all conference my senior year. Something I'm very proud of. I worked really hard, but I really found a real comfortable place, and that's why I tell my guys, as they're choosing a school, fit is important.
Right.
I found a great fit for me. I enjoyed my time there. I still communicate with a lot of my teammates. I had a great college student athlete experience at Morgan.
Yeah. So how easy was that transition into coaching for you?
The transition to coaching was something I always knew that would happen. It was kind of hard for me because I wanted to continue playing after my career at Morgan. But I busted my knee up pretty bad. And instead of getting like the reconstructive surgery, I just decided to do rehab and get into coaching. So I would say the coolest part or the best part about the transition for me was when Todd Bozeman came in. He recruited some Baltimore guys. He recruited Jarrell Green, Reggie Holmes, Kevin Thompson were the 3 Baltimore guys that he first got in there. Mm-hmm. And so as I transitioned, so first of all, some of my guys I was coaching were my teammates, that was a little weird at first because I went from like leading squad. I was a captain for 2 years, so I was vocal, but it was just different there. But it was also cool to have some Baltimore guys come in, and they really let me coach them. They made I had teammates and then guys from my hometown. I was so happy we were finally recruiting Baltimore guys. Mm-hmm. And Morgan, it's one of those things when he came in, he hired, Keith Goody and Jim Black, two of my mentors to this day. I learned so much from them. So we had Baltimore assistants, we had Baltimore players, and then my old teammates. So I felt right at home, and it made the transition real easy for me. And I fell in love with coaching, that year of being a grad assistant.
Okay. And then, like, y'all had some great teams and some great players to work with while you was there. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, man. We I knew things were different. As a player, I dominated our open gyms. And then I watched some of the guys coming in, a guy named Jamar Smith. I'll never forget his first day in open gym. And Boubacar Coley transferred from Xavier. And then guys like Kev. We had the Baltimore Toughness. We had a guy named Marquise Cately who was at Cal. Bad dude. So like we had this new level of talent. It was we had a ball together, man. It was a great experience. The NCAA tournament experience, coaching against Blake Griffin, seeing my man Amir Ali throw him over his shoulder. It was just my time at Morgan, playing and coaching is something that I just hold real close to my heart. The experience of beating Maryland behind Reggie and Kev.
Yeah, yeah.
Putting on a big performance. We beat Maryland. We beat DePaul. Played in the NIT. I take a lot of pride in, the work I put in as a player there, but I equally take in as much pride as even though the time was limited that I put in as a coach. I felt like I grew a lot. I learned a lot from Bowles, learned a lot from my Baltimore guys on staff, and it definitely shaped me a lot to be the coach I am today.
Yeah, I mean, you should be proud. Y'all did some amazing things. I mean, that time you was there, so definitely be proud of that. How did coaching at Poly come about? How did that opportunity come to you?
So, my last year coaching at Morgan, I knew that it was, I knew that the time was about to be up. I just knew that I wanted to experience something different. I was really excited about getting in the game. Like I said, we had experienced some success. And so I either wanted to, try my hand at the coaching carousel that is being a college assistant, or, maybe get into high school basketball. And before I even made a decision on that, I spoke with our assistant principal at Poly, who's still assistant principal now, Matt Wolfson, just about the state of Poly basketball and kind of general conversation. And I talked to him a little bit about where I was and just, thinking about the possibility of eventually getting into high school. And he was like, look, we would love to have you here. And I think we may be in a transition with coaching. And so, I told him that if that actually happened, I would be really interested in the position. I gotten a degree in mathematics. My undergrad was in mathematics, and I was almost finished my master's in math education at Morgan. So, I knew I could teach math there and be the coach. And then like 3 weeks later, the then principal Barney Wilson, who I'm really grateful for, he asked me to come up to Poly and speak with me. And, when he talked to me about, what his vision was for our school, and then, I shared with him what my vision was, I was like, man, this sounds like a great opportunity to work with, a Poly man who has the integrity of the school and its academics and its rich history and tradition in mind, but he does want to, invest in and support scholar athletes. Right. It was like, something I was like immediately drawn to. So it was a great meeting, and I just knew it. I knew I wanted to be the coach at Poly. Excuse me. And so he wound up giving me the job, and then he was gone like 3 weeks later. I know that sounds great, but that was not a part of the success after, because I started working at Poly, and then he was out of there, and I was told I wasn't even going to be able to coach the team my first year as a teacher. So it was it started out as this thing. I was leaving Morgan, and I was really excited to work with it. Administrative support is essential. Especially when you're building. And I was really excited. Dr. Wilson was just, I felt really good about me. So anyway, he was gone like 3 weeks into it, and then I was like, all right, well, here's reality. And took it from there.
Okay, what was it? I know like people think of Poly now, but what was it like those first few years when you started laying the foundation for the program that you have now?
So, the talent level was obviously not what it is now, but man, I love those guys. Like so the first thing, and I know it's going to sound cliche, but at a place like Poly, the first thing that I had to do was establish that our academic success, what was going to have to come before our basketball success. We had when I finally got everybody's report card, I wasn't even able to work with the team in the preseason before I got the job. So when I got the job, it was like 2 weeks before the first day of trials. And I'm all about preparation and everything. I'm like, forget it. I got to take it. I'm not denied, but I'm like, I barely know these kids. I had got to work with them a little bit, but they were telling me to stay away because I was teaching math in the building, but there was a grievance between the previous coach. So it was like, it was so much going on. It was just a really rough start. Yeah. But the important thing was what I knew is I had a great group of people with me. Anthony Fitzgerald, who's our associate head coach now, I just knew all the great things he was bringing back to Poly. My best friend Dominic Harrison was a supporter of the program and assistant at the time. Jarrell Green, who I coached at Poly, was joining us on staff. Jared Ingram, who's now athletic director at New Era, was on staff. We just had this group of people that I knew were going to bring something different to our, to Poly that had never been there before. So I was really confident about that. But, the first practice wasn't wasn't as many dunks as we have in our practices now.
Yeah.
But when getting a chance to tell our story like this, I'm so grateful for those kids and those years because we truly built it from the bottom up. We paid. It's not like we told those guys we're not going to work hard for you. We're going to wait till we get our guys in here, some talent. All those guys know. In fact, those guys, when they come back now, yo, he's taking it easy on y'all. He killed us when he came here. Because I was I was a man on a mission as far as establishing culture, as far as, changing the dynamic of, Poly. I mean, we're talking almost 100 years of us being the doormat of Baltimore City Public League basketball. It wasn't even an issue of being nationally ranked or not, and those were in my initial conversation with my staff. But it's first we have to even establish we're not going to get, smacked in the face when we walk in every gym in our own city.
Yeah.
It really, we had a rich tradition of losing. We did in basketball, and even how we were losing. It was, but our guys, we also had some really tough kids that bucked that tradition early. We are in just our second year, Chaz Brown, Greg Butler, John Crosby, in his first year there, we beat Akil Carr's #1 team as an unranked team in the Baltimore Sun. I don't think that's ever happened since, being unranked, beating the #1 team. Early we had a group of guys that may have not have been as heralded as our guys are now, but I'm just forever grateful for the culture that those guys allowed us to establish at Poly. It really has carried over to this day with our teams.
Yeah, I went to school up Frostburg, so it was definitely a lot of Poly guys up there, and used to play against some of them and everything. And it was just I'm from PG, so the thing was that Poly City weekend. I just remember all the kids saying they going home, home, and that was my first introduction to the great tradition that Poly has.
Yeah, so in the football, that's the thing. We got we had Antonio Freeman, well-known receiver on the Packers, but we played in the Orange Bowl down in Florida against in a quote-unquote national championship game that we lost. But we were in the high school national championship in football. There's a legendary coach, Augie Wobble, that our gym is named after. There was a football coach there that, we're talking about a serious level of excellence. So that was a part of it for me. I'm look, we've had this national level success here in football and not in basketball, but the heart of what created that success, the strong academic foundation, the discipline, being in a place like Baltimore where you have, just some tough, hard-nosed people that when applied both of those things, can do some really big things. So, I knew it was possible there. And, I'm really grateful that, now we've added to a place that has so much tradition already,
So what was it like that first team with 2017, the first team to win the championship? What was that going into that season? Did you feel it? Did you know something was special about that team?
Well, it was a really difficult offseason because the year before, so the real story of that 2017 team is that the year before, we went undefeated in the city and won the city championship. Year where we had Jordan Jones and Christian Chong-Kui as our point guard and Jordan as our 5 with Dre, Demetrius, and the guy Torrance Stevens that's at Frostburg actually. But that team got to #1 in the Baltimore Sun, and that was a big accomplishment for us. And we went out to Woodlawn, even though we were #1 in the Baltimore Sun. We had a tough schedule, so we had 3 losses. Woodlawn had 2, I believe, for the season. We went to Woodlawn, even though we were, a much higher ranked team and a much, I believe, better team. We had to go on the road in the playoffs and got upset by Woodlawn.
Okay.
Dre Perry broke his hand in the locker room
Mm.
after the game. Whole team crying. I mean, it was like, that was supposed to be our year to do it.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
year before, we experienced like deep, deep disappointment. And so, so coming back that next year, we had Dre as our leader, and he was just a man on a mission his senior year. And me, I'm not gonna lie, going into the, you know, nothing is promised. So going into the state playoff run, I'm nervous, man. We haven't won a state championship yet. And I know we built the program to be in a position to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was nervous, but Dre Perry said, there's nothing to be nervous about. And he put one of the best, I really would put it up against any individual playoff run in Maryland state tournament history. It was unbelievable what Dre did. Pretty much every game was a blowout, including Woodlawn. Until the state championship game where we won by 1. But Dre, even in that game, he was, when I think about that playoff run, I think about all the work it took to get up to there, and then also what it's like when a young man, sets his mind to his goals and just gets on a mission. Man, it was fun to watch him in that state tournament.
Yeah. So again, like coming back next year, what were your expectations there? Did you already have your mindset we need to do the same exact thing, or what was your expectations for that team?
Each team takes on its own, its own feeling. And what I felt is that, Dre did his thing, Torn, our seniors, and this is something we've been able to take on each year is, when you go through our program, you go through the difficulties in school, you go through the rigors that we put you through with all the people we have working with you. Like at the end, we want it to be your time. So like seniors, we really, like we got a kid right now that is just got top 10 in the country, but we're playing this year for Trey English. This is our guy. He's our senior. He's been through our program. This is his last ride with us. We're playing through him. So I say that to say year 2, Demetrius Mims was a great option B. When Dre was there, we played under Dre, but it was now Demetrius' time to step up.
Yeah.
And then we had young Justin Lewis coming in the program.
Yeah.
We had Raheem Ali going into his second year, taking on a bigger role. So, all these guys deserve what their time was. Our seniors at that time, like the year before, the kid Torn was at Frostburg at 17-9 in the state championship in our first state championship.
Okay.
One thing I took from the state championship run, I was so grateful to those seniors for putting us on their back at the end. And also I just realized the importance of having seniors in these runs and, having guys coming through and then leaving. I think what I took with me to the next time is this next group, let's give it to our seniors, and let's make it happen again. And that one was the most difficult one. We won 3 games in that run by 1 point in year 2.
Yeah.
We were actually, man, if anybody from Great Mills is watching this, I'm sorry, because it was over. We were down 11 with like 2:40, down 9 with like 1:50, and then went on like 11-0 run in their gym. Everybody's like overrated, warm up the bus, all that. Gave us all that. Came back, won down there on our seniors. So year 2 was fun, man, because then it was like, all right, we've established ourselves as more than just like a single team. I think when we won without Dre Perry, it was important to be able to do that because, like I said, he put us on his back, man. It was an unbelievable run. So when we won without Dre Perry, it was a different level of success our program experienced because, like I said, he was the guy you want. So it was really cool to have Demetrius and those guys get their year to do their thing.
Yeah, and then third year coming in, that's when like you're running behind Raheem, Justin Lewis. That's when I first moved up here, and I tell people back home, like, Brandon Murray, the amazing year he just had, like that was budding last season. Like you could see it. Can you talk about that season a little bit?
So that year when Brandon came in, so our senior was Amani Walker. So Amani's at Gander now. He had a medical red shirt this year, but so it was about Amani. But what it also when Rod came in, we said before you leave, we're going to be top 25 in the country. It was really our goal when he got there. Like by the time your senior year comes, we want to be top 25 in the country. And then a group came in. Justin bought into that. You know, Brandon bought into that, and our whole team was like, we really were close that year to getting that top 25 in the country. So I say, you know, it's about our seniors. So this is Amani's senior year, and we knew like if we could get top 25 this year, we have everybody but basically like Amani and Kim coming back, and you know, we're going to be like this year, this past is going to be, you know, a pretty scary season. You know, that year we started, you know, with Brandon, his first year in the program, Justin his second year. We just, it was really cool to, you know, to think about the previous years we've been talking about and then the build up. And it's like, this is really happening. Like these guys are the guys to get this done. And, you know, we're really grateful to have the right guys in the building, the right support behind them. And it was just like year three was, you know, was a year where we, you know, it wasn't an, we knew that our success wasn't a surprise to anyone. So I would say it really was our first year. Even year two, we were still having to like fight the underdog role a lot, I felt like. But this year it was like we established ourselves as a power, and we're gonna have to deal with being the favorites a lot. So that was different. But then also it was like, so now that we're dealing with that here, now we go to the next mission, which is now we want to get on this national. We want to be nationally ranked. We recognize that we're here. So now our hunger has to come from, you know, is coming from chasing an even bigger level of success for the program and our guys.
And ultimately, you guys reached that success, number 18 in the country. How did you keep your guys focused all year? Because I'm sure, like, you know, they're in high school. So at one point, it may get to like, we one of the best teams in the country. Only public school ranked in the top 25. So how did you keep the excitement up, but how did you keep them level-headed enough to stay focused for each game?
You know, we were all really excited about being a part of it. So, like, the thing is, you know, how I'm really proud of our program, but I'm mostly proud of how we built it. Not just that we won, but I really feel that those steps that we took were incremental, and it was. I'm really happy that it happened that way. So it's not like we never felt like we were given anything. We even felt like, I mean, we're two possessions away from being the number 2 team in the country. I mean, we lost one possession difference. We beat St. Francis. One possession difference. We beat St. John's, and now we're you know, even and we believe that in ourselves. So we always find a way to, you know, we feel like we're undervalued, underranked, and also the part that you just mentioned, we understand that we represent public schools. We are very proud to represent Baltimore public schools. You know, and you know, and who we are. We take a lot of pride in how we were built and who we are. And so within doing that, you know, we felt like we had the city championship taken away from us last year, so we weren't going to leave any doubt this year. We felt like, you know, we were right on the verge of nationally ranked last year when that happened. And so, you know, we're going to claw our way to get there. And then we had this big bullseye on the chance to play to defend the national champions. And, you know, nothing was going to, you know, our guys knew that any slippage on the way to doing that, you know, could ruin that opportunity for us and what that opportunity could mean. So, you know, we felt like we didn't play our best in the St. Francis game. And then, you know, another thing that kept us and always has kept us going is we make sure that we challenge ourselves with the most difficult schedule we can possibly make. So, like, you're going to sleep on IMG, you know, you're going to sleep on the city championship in Baltimore City. It's like, you know, you're going to sleep on St. Francis, you're going to sleep on the Beast Ball Classic. You know, you're going to sleep on Wilson, who smacked us last year. Like, nah. Our guys, you know, in our program are always going to find a way to be motivated. You know, I think that is an extension of the way we're built, our coaching staff, who all our guys are, and then the type of young men we coach.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the schedule. That's something I wanted to talk about. Like, y'all played, like you said, y'all played an extremely tough schedule. What were some of those you building this program, you know, from started day one, what were those big games for you? Like, because you know how much it meant to play in those games and win those big games. Could you feel it changing, like when you're on that national schedule down, whether it was down south or at Morgan State? Could you feel it changing?
No question about it. You know, so in the beginning, what it was Mount St. Joe. We were trying to get Mount St. Joe on the schedule, and they did. Coach Classy got us on there for a couple of years, and playing St. Francis. So it was St. Joe and St. Francis. I really remember. I won't even say who it is, but I remember somebody who's like really well respected in Baltimore basketball. Like, Sam, I think that's a mistake. I don't think you should be playing those guys. Like, it's going to be really, you know, like, it's going to mess with your state seeding, and it's going to, you know, it's going to put you at a disadvantage where you're going on the road in states, and I don't think you're going to beat them. These guys are able to recruit at a different level. You know, private school league is looked at in a different way.
Yeah,
and I knew that was wrong. You know, I knew that wasn't a part of what we were trying to build. And so starting with those games, we built those games up into some pretty high level games. And then you're playing high level Baltimore City games. So we had some big games, but it was definitely, I would say the first we played in Slam Dunk to the Beach, which we'll actually be going back to this year. And we went 0-2, and this was Dre's senior year. This is our first state championship run. We got our first chance to play in some national bump. And I remember seeing Westtown when Mo Bamba and Cam Reddish play against Jalik Felton. I forget the name of his prep school, but I remember seeing them play in one of the feature matches or the feature games at Slam Dunk and thinking like, all right, we got here. We got to one of the games here, and it was a good game. We played some good teams there, but like there's even a level up at even these events we'll go to. We'll be playing in that level game this year.
yeah.
You know, so then fast forward to the past couple seasons, you know, we got Simeon to come to Baltimore when they were number 8 in the country. Played them at home. Taylor Horton Tucker, who's on the Lakers now, put on a little show in our gym, unfortunately. But, you know, so we've been pushing that schedule forever to get it this year where we got IMG on the schedule and we beat them. And then playing in the Beach Ball Classic, you know, it was cool. We played, you know, we had it to the point we got one nationally ranked team we played. This year we got to play 4.
Yeah. What was speaking about IMG East Coast Bump, what was that like? Like, what do you remember telling your players before they walked out there on that court?
So there was weeks of preparation going into that game. Really, the second we lost to St. Francis, you know, we said we believed that we were going to dominate the state tournament, but we wanted to be nationally ranked. When we lost to St. Francis, we were all pissed about it, the way we performed. And we said now we have to beat IMG. It's not an option not to. This is our goal. This is what we're going to do. We have to beat them.
Yeah.
So. You know, a lot of preparation. Like, I mean, I've never watched more film on a team than I watched of IMG. I really have. I watched. I had about 6 games, and I watched them all at least 5 times. I felt like I really was. You know, I felt like I knew them very well. I knew their players' tendencies. Feel like, you know, Anthony Fitzgerald, our guy, my associate head coach, watched them. As you know, I usually pretty much just rely on him for the scouting because he's a beast with it. But I took this one extra personal. We had a lot of dialogue. Kyle Jacoby was, you know, he's doing the event, but also like, you know, giving us everything he can as far as, you know, support. Like just all our guys, you know, Kenny Wood, our whole staff, Mike Turner, all our guys. We were just locked in, man. So I say that to say we get to the locker room before the game, and what I told them is that, you know, they're, you know, they know what it is that we're coming here to do. Like, it's not a secret that we feel like we're going to out-tough them. We're going to get up under them. We're going to pressure them. And we're going to Baltimore them in Baltimore. You know, we're going to Baltimore basketball.
Yeah.
And you know, I was calling them the Monstars. So I like the Monstars over there. They're not happy about that. You know, they're taking this personal. They're not like, and I said, but there's nothing they can do about it because we've known each other longer than they've known each other. We've prepared longer for them than they have for us. They've played national games in the last few weeks. we've had this bullseye on these dudes for too long, and they're not going to be able to move out of it. They're done, you know. And I think our guys knew we all believed it. We knew that, you know, like we're about to beat IMG. We knew it. We knew it in the preparation, and so I basically just, you know, gave them the keys to do that. They knew you know, we were ready. You know, I knew that they were ready, and you know, I love doing it. I love getting our guys hyped up for big games. I don't brag about a lot of things I do, but I do know that I get our guys fired up for our games. I knew we were fired up for that game. It was an electric locker room. There's an electric scene in there. Just watching St. Francis beat up on Oak Hill, you know, in the dead gym. But I did tell them this. I said, this one won't be a blowout. I promise you that. Like, they're not. You know, I knew we were good, but we're not blowing IMG out. It's going to be close. Stay with it.
Rob makes the layup, and I've seen like, I wasn't there that day, but I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures of y'all going crazy. At that moment, did anything click off in your head, or you just say we need the buzzer to go off? Like, what was going through your mind?
So when Rob hits the layup, I'm not surprised at all because he's Rob. That's who he is. That's what he does. He's always done it. When the ball got in his hands, I wanted a timeout if we didn't get momentum with the ball. I've always told Rob that, you know, late in the game, and if you have momentum with the ball, I'm not calling timeout. Make a play. Okay. So he makes the play. They call timeout. He's got a cramp. I'm just thinking about what defense we're going to play. So in a situation like that, we either go full court man or we throw a 22 pressure in. I'm not 22 like soft press in. So we decided to go with the 22 to put Justin in the back for the last closeout, whatever it was. And he actually tipped the ball on the closeout. And when I saw it fall short, so, I mean, a lot of people saw me run over the security guard, which wasn't my proudest moment. But my instant thought was, like, it was 10 years of, like, tireless work, you know, all put into one moment. And it was just so much validation. Like, it just felt like so much validation for that work, time spent away from family, you know, time spent with our guys, trying to do things a certain way, trying to instill things in our guys a certain way. Just felt like instant validation for all of that work. Yeah. And then I wanted to run, and because I was hyped, and then I was like, I don't want to run on the court because then I'm making it about me. And I'm not Jay Wright, man. You know, that stuff he did where he just shakes somebody's hand, bang. I'm like, that's just not me. I admire him for that. That's amazing. Yeah. But it's just not me. So I had to get this emotion out, but I didn't want to make it about me. So I'm like, I'm getting the F out of here. So I'm just like, first door I see, I run towards it. Don't see nothing in my way. Yeah. Unfortunately, somebody told me I did that, but I didn't even know. I didn't see the guy there. Like, it wasn't, I just was like, let me get out of here. Right. And I bust out that door, and I found a corner, and I just sat in it and cried for like 5 minutes, man. I was just, like, I just couldn't believe it. I remember I was saying, so we just beat IMG, man, in basketball. We just, like, Poly just beat IMG in basketball. Like, yeah. That didn't just happen. It was unreal, man. Even right now, it's unreal to think about it. Like, remembering our first practice, remember going to watch Poly when I was a coach at Morgan, and, you know, the state of our program to beat the defending national champions with 2 McDonald's All-Americans on their starting lineup. When I know my man Justin, I always wished, you know, I wanted that opportunity for him. Right. Or Brandon was that, like, just validation that Brandon is that good, Ra is that special, KJ is going to be that deal. You know, Trey, you know, Bryce, all these guys getting that experience. Even Big Adam getting out there and missing the layup. He won't be missing it this year. Yeah. You know, just having that experience for all our guys. And then also, I thought about the first class of guys. My guy, Darian Stokes-Graham, who was our first All-Metro player, was sitting courtside. So, you know, just like thinking about all my best friends that have put blood, sweat, and tears in our program, like we just really, like, we got them to come here. Yep. We got them to come here. They told us no. State told us no. MPSA, SSA told us no. We went and got Nick Mosby and made him tell us yes. They said, all right, go out there and get your butt kicked. and then we beat the defending national champions.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. The story, people have no clue. People, that's why, like, you know, there's always going to be a lot of criticism, and I appreciate all the criticism and all the, you know, naysayers, whatever you want to call it, man. What we did was from the ground up. It was with some great people, and what I told the guys afterwards, man, is can't nobody take that from us. Right there, that right there, that's going down in history. We earned that. We earned the moment. Every single thing about the game, you know, was earned. I mean, really to the point where they didn't even want us to play. They didn't want us to play the game. Wait, a lot of people, and then, you know, so we earned our moment. We seized it, and I was just proud of everybody that's ever been involved with Poly basketball at that moment, man. All that emotion was just running through me, you know, that night. I won't ever forget it.
Yeah, like that was bigger. Everything it did for Poly was just big for the entire Baltimore area, honestly. Like St. Francis be Oak Hill, y'all be IMG, and like I was telling Kyle, was just like the internet was just on fire for weeks, and like all that happened right here. Y'all got those teams to come and get it done. So that's amazing. Oh, coach dipped out on us. I must have said something. It's like, I don't know. Cause yeah, as soon as coach get back in, I'm gonna tap him back in. But yeah, East Coast lump was crazy. I wish I was there. Oh,
Kick me out for a second.
yeah, I was like, I ain't even say nothing. He just hung up on us. But no, that was definitely a big moment, and yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
It was fun, man.
Yeah.
It to this day, you know, it's a great thing to think about for me. I'm so proud of those guys. And it was cool, man. Jaden Springer, you know, I watched him out of USA Basketball.
Yeah.
You know, super amount, like that dude's, I think he's going to be an NBA guard. You know, it was the real deal. We watching them dudes stretch like, well, we lost the layup line. You know, it was everything about the operation. You know, they put a lot into it. They got, you know, 10 people on staff. You know, it's what they do is high level.
That's $70K a year though. That's what that gets you. $70K a year.
No doubt.
Coming down into the season, I know a lot of people, including myself, I was definitely excited to see y'all match up against St. Charles. And I just wanted to ask you about that. Like, I saw y'all guys in a lot of gyms this year. Like, whether it was in PG Baltimore, y'all were in a lot of gyms. Did y'all ever get a chance to check out any St. Charles action?
So we're not going to get where we are as a program without. I mean, we were watching them all season. We knew that they were. You know, going to be a team to contend with. Had some really tough guards. I think they presented some matchup problems as far as, you know, a lot of guys that could do a lot of different things. You know, it was going to be a big time game, man. It was going to be fun. You know what my honest opinion is of how the game's outcome would have been.
Yeah.
I really, you know, like, no disrespect to St. Francis, no disrespect to St. John's. There were only 2 losses. I think it messed our guys up that we beat both of those teams the previous year. You know, we beat St. John's the year before at St. John's with
big shot.
With you know, Casey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So we're like, you know, we felt like, oh, we're gonna win that game. And to be honest, we felt like after Jordan and the other kid left St. Francis, we felt the superior team, and it hurt us. But I say all that to say, I really felt like we were this year's team. I mean, and those are 2 really good teams that beat us. And I thought we played horrible in both games, and lost by a possession by 2 really good teams. I just felt like our team would have been too much for just to complete the run that we were on. You know, I tell you what, I'd have been worried about going to St. Charles though. If we'd had to go back down there, I'd have been worried. I would have, because that's no joke, man. We went down there the year before, and we almost didn't make it out alive. It was a big atmosphere. They had Darius Miles. you know, yeah, it was tough. And I think they were a tougher team this year. I think they were just as good. Um, they were just as good uh, talent-wise, maybe, but they were a better put-together team.
Okay. Yeah, that was definitely something. I think everybody, players, coaches, media, everybody was looking forward to that in the state championship. What would you say about your team next season? You got some tough guys. They done been through some things this year, and I feel like they'll be ready to make that next step. Like you said, it was always the people right behind. They was ready to step up the next year. What do you got to say about the guys that you're gonna have on the floor next year?
So we have 4 returners, and then we had a JV City Championship team that I'm really excited about. A few guys coming up from it, and what I learned at the Westtown game that I was telling you about, that was a 2-point game at the end. And what I learned is this year's team was, it's going to be hard to have a more talented team than we had this year.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like extreme level of talent on a high school team, you don't need 8 high majors to even be the best team in the country. I feel like that group of 4 core guys brings. We have a true center, Adam Walden, who is really going to come into his own this year. I'm really excited for his growth.
He's been putting in a lot of work.
He works his butt off, man. And just you playing behind Justin Lewis. He has grown a lot, getting his butt kicked by Justin. He's going to do a lot of butt kicking now. That's what a program should be.
Yeah.
And then you got, Kwame Evans Jr. is, we have so much faith in him on and off the court and who he's going to be in his new role. Just as far as, being able to handle that kind of recognition, being top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
Such a humble kid, such a hard worker. So he's working to get better every day. And we're really grateful that he is the type of kid he is to be able to handle the attention that he's getting. And then our backcourt, Bryce and Trey are going to be. I'm just really excited for them because the reality is playing behind and with Brandon and Rob is a lot. Those 2 dudes really are commanding presences on the court. They earned their right to do what they did this year as seniors, and they also raised some wolves, man. Bryce and Trey are going to be really difficult to deal with. With Adam setting screens and KJ on the wing. That core group of 4 guys we're really excited about. And only to have one be a senior with Trey. I really think that Trey English is going to be one of the, I think, surprises of Maryland basketball this year.
Okay.
I think Trey is going to be, I think people are going to see that Trey's a lot better than is advertised thus far. So I'm really excited about those 4. I'm excited about a couple guys. Coming up. Bryce just joined. I was just talking about how good you're about to do this year, Bryce. But we got a couple guys coming up from JV that we got a lot of faith in, that we feel like will be good role players around them, and we're really excited about this next group. We really look at each group as a chance to elevate the tradition that we've grown at Poly, and we believe that this next group of guys have the ability to do that. And then in one way they're doing it, as Bryce is on here, and as I was just talking about Kwame, and I can say the same for Adam and Trey, is that I talked about our challenge in GPA when I first got to Poly. All these guys are super committed to their academics.
Yeah.
I don't even think they understand. I'm gonna try to do my best. That's our chef on here, saying they call Bryce the chef now. Those guys getting to the point where we're at a public school, we're winning. We're at a public school, we're winning statewide. We're at a public school, we're winning nationally. We're at a public school, we're being recruited Ivy League. Now y'all making my dreams come true as far as our overall vision for the program.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys, elevating our stature even to another level with the way they're performing in the classroom as well is something that, I'm really proud of. So think they'll do big things on the court. I'm excited for that. Continue, you know, we're going to play with the toughest schedule as we can. But I'm just like, I'm really, you know, I'm proud of all of the growth within the program.
Mm-hmm. And this is going back a little bit. Rod, he's headed to Howard. Were you able to like talk to him about like the whole we mentioned earlier going to a HBC? Were you able to give him some of like your experience about that?
So I've shared my experience at Morgan. I mean, all of our guys. Look, I coached Rod for 4 years. You know, I've shared everything that I feel with him, man. I went through a lot of, you know, went through so much with him. So I told him about my experience. He actually, one of the things about being at Poly, he already has a mentor, one of the members of our foundation board at, come on, Dre Perry. I was just, Dre Perry just joined. I had a whole Dre Perry
Yeah,
session.
he did.
Earlier,
He did.
Talked about your state playoff run. My bad. Back to what was that? Dre threw me off.
Speaking with Rod, yeah.
Oh yeah. So Rod already is, you know, set up with a mentor that's a Poly grad at Howard. You know what? Rod's of the mindset, knowing what I know about him. We haven't talked about all this going on in the world right now. And I would love to have that conversation with him. But what I do know is he's a thoughtful young man, and taking, you know, who he is and the education he already is, you know, received, and earning a Howard degree afterwards. I'm just I'm excited to see what he does there. I think, I mean, I really, Eric Atkins, the Baltimore guy on staff, that's actually who I communicated with as, you know, to make the connection with Rob.
I think he's on here right now. I think he's on here.
Is he? Okay. Nah, yeah. So I'm excited who he's going to be on and off the court down at Howard. You know, I love that kid, man. He you know, a lot of guys have been the face of the program, but he you know, his last 4 years, you know, they were special.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Coach, they're going to kick us off in about like a minute or two. But could you always ask coaches, like, what was one team throughout your building process, what was that one team that just gave you the most troubles?
This year.
This year?
This year's team. There are people, you know, I mean, look, year one was this year's team was so talented. We were so talented. I don't think people understand how good Bryce and Trey are. You know, Adam could have been a starting center anywhere. You know, Rock could average 20 points a game in some places. Ian Wallace is coming off the bench for us at the end of the year. I believe Ian is going to be a Division I player after this year, you know, going prep. Josiah Lamar is unbelievable glue guy. You know, we had our practices were more fun for me than anything, because we had great bump in practice, but it also created havoc when it came time to giving out playing time and guys dealing with, you know, knowing that you know, it's really tough to sacrifice for the greater good, especially when you're so good as a team. And the truth is, you know, all love to all the voices in their ear, but there's just a lot of voices that come, you know, you're this good, you know, you should be getting this. And I wanted everybody to shine. I wanted everybody to average 30, but, you know, this was the most difficult assignment because it was our most talented group. It's a challenge I absolutely enjoyed. It's one I'll never forget. I love all those guys, but it was definitely my biggest challenge as a coach.
All right, Coach, I definitely appreciate you joining us this evening and sharing all your experiences with us.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, Coach.
Appreciate all you doing covering local basketball as well, man. You know, when I was coming up, we had to rely on our local newspapers and stuff, and they're not doing as much anymore. We rely on you guys to get the word out on who we are, so I really appreciate you having me and the coverage you guys do in local basketball.
Oh yeah, of course. Soon as everything go back to the way it was, we'll be out there.
No doubt.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.